We're in Melbourne, Australia for the next round of Season 16. It's Revo on pole from teammate Ina Babnis and David Camino. Then it's Michael Novikov, Akari, Enoch Huey, and Sebo Campo. Marcus Nelson starts 8th from the other MS Hamlin and Andretti of Das Sanchez. Then it's Daniel Bogdasarov, PCR outside of the top 10, UK Ball, iWorld, Leo, and Vachu Chantan. Yuki Suo starts 16th, and then it's Santino Milan and T. Gabo. Boris Leclerc starts 19th from Emil Reyes, August Regazzoni, and at the back of the pack, it's Tommy. Las Vegas showed quite a bit of skill from the man currently on pole. Oh, but let's go on. Here in Australia, and the Melbourne E3 is green, and the two hyperdrive men on the front row. After seemingly even starts, it looks like Babnis had a better getaway, but Revo having a better acceleration, and it's coming down the main straight, coming after the first chicane. Revo still leading the way. Novikov has gone ahead of both Camino and Babnis. Novikov to P2. Brilliant stuff from the next EV car, who's currently chasing down a potential first race win of the young number 12's career, but he's still got to fight against the 7 ahead of him. iWorld with track limits warning currently down in 13th. Sebastian Ocampo not off to the greatest start. He's dropped to 10th, and Akari also not off to the greatest start compared to his teammate, who's gotten himself up into 9th. Akari currently remaining in 8th, and he's still fighting with his teammate, with this long-time adversary but longer-time friend. Sebastian Ocampo getting past him. Leo getting past the knock. Yui and his own teammate Ocampo following him through on that pinnacle. And can Ocampo try and go around the outside? Not quite. Vachu Chantan, 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. But on lap 2 of 14, Revo still leads the way. As you can see, midfield, as it usually is, absolutely hectic, and it's brilliant. And all the while, Ocampo still trying to force his way past an Arcui, but Akari on the outside looks to try and get past him, almost cutting off Das Sanchez's front wing. UK Ball down in 21st position. He's got a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Both Vaughan cars on the hard tyres. While one of them's currently in 6th place and doing a pretty alright job, the other one is struggling to even stay in the top 20, because he's down in 21st now, only ahead of Emil Reyes, who's after an equally awful start. He was leading the championship a few rounds ago. Now he's down in last. It's not the kind of season that you want to see. Daniel Bogdasarov, he's been flying under the radar recently. He's currently in 4th position, chasing down Ina Babnis. He's going to get attack mode going down the main straight to start lap 3 of 14. As is Michael Novikov also with attack mode. He's drafting Revo, but he's not quite close enough to make the move. Neither Novikov or Bogdasarov close enough to make an overtake. Leo up to 6th. We didn't watch that overtake because we're still focusing on Bogdasarov. He's also defending from Marcus Nelson, the Season 9 champion, who after winning his first championship only had one good season afterwards. That was Season 12, where he could have won the title, but lost out before the last 2 rounds of the season. But we're still watching on with the top 2. Babnis holding up Bogdasarov and Nelson. I'm pretty sure those mediums that he's got, it's a strategic decision, obviously. But I think the fact that he's holding up the guys who's behind him instead of chasing after the guys in front of him probably means that Hyperdrive are almost definitely focusing on Revo for this championship. They're trying to get the most experienced driver, his first World Drivers' Cup, up, as we see Enoch Huey fighting with Sebastian Ocampo. Akari still in 10th. Leo fastest lap of the E3. The gap between the race leaders is 4/10 of a second. It has opened up, and by opened up I mean stayed relatively stable. Somehow Revo is just keeping Novikov at bay, because he's not really finding any way to overtake the number 7 ahead of him, who's got quite a lot of pace coming through the fast-flowing parts of the track, especially the middle sector, where it is flat out for basically the entirety of it. And into this breaking point to start the 3rd and final sector on lap 4. We've got 10 laps. Novikov has attack mode, but he can't really make the most of it. Bogdasarov however, has attack mode compared to Baroness, who does not. So I believe there's a good shot that Virgin might be trying to get onto the podium today, but it's all about whether or not they can make their way onto it. No one of the top 4 deciding to dive into the pits on lap 5 of 14, 9 laps to go. Is anyone going to come into the pits this early into the E3? The soft tyres are actually holding up better than we expected them to do around this track. As, Sebo Campo dancing around David Camino. If he can find the place to make the move, it's going to have to be round the outside here. And round the outside is not the way to make the overtake. However, considering how he lost out on a potential championship chance last season by going down the inside, didn't really open that, and he's hit the back. He's hit the back of David Campo. 5-second time penalty to Sebastian Ocampo. And he's got to be a lot more careful when it comes to making those kinds of overtakes. They can be really, really good when done right, but Ocampo's just not really had the focus to do it. I'm not too sure on how, I don't know where all that focus has gone for him, but we'll try and find it. But not QE. 9th position, holding up Akari, who's in 10th. So into the pits, that is David Camino staying up, but Leo Novikov, Ocampo, Gabo, and PCR are all into pit lane. Mealreds and Regazzoni also into the pits on this lap. Medium tyres going on to Ocampo's car, and you know for a fact that Next TV are trying to do a massive undercut. The problem with undercuts around here is if you do them, there's a likelihood that you're going to lock yourself into a 2-stop. If you don't try and go for the undercut, you're likely to do a 1-stop strategy. Because if you were to pit on this lap from mediums onto softs, you need to pit again. Because this is the lap where most drivers are thinking, you know what, we should put onto soft tyres. Santino Milan, 5 seconds for causing a collision with Daf Sanchez. And that's with attack mode, so it wasn't the cleanest overtake for him. Tommy getting past Sanchez as well. The number 45 in this championship really looks to be very quick. Baroness takes the lead as his teammate peels into the pits. Bogdasarov now, he's going to be gaining on that hyperdrive number 14. However, Bogdasarov did get the attack mode. We're going to look now to Michael Notkivov, who's coming through the chicane. Is he going to be ahead of Revo? And will the net race lead swap hands? Let's take a look. Is he ahead or is he behind? No, Revo's just made it to turns 1 and 2. So Novikov has lost 3 seconds. He's lost a second to Revo, by doing the undercut. It has not paid off. So Revo now in 9th position. That's net race lead. Roughly 25 seconds for a pit stop. Likely a little more. We're taking this from the gaps as Bogdasarov really struggling on his softs. Not QE, track limits warning, and Yui currently in 13th. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I just keep saying Yui. So top 3 all into the pits. David Camino, I believe, should be assuming the race lead now. Comes through the final turn, stays with him is Santino Milan, and he's got attack mode. Would this be the race lead for Santino Milan? Almost tangling there. They're side by side coming through the first chicane into turn number 3 and 4. He's still there. He's gonna send it. This is the absolute driving brilliance from the Nissan driver, but he's had to back off. If that worked, that would have been absolutely amazing. And this is the thing about the rookies that we've had join this season. With the seasons. Before season 10, most rookies would have been just there to drive and learn. But since season 10, if you're a rookie in this championship, what we're seeing is that they're not just waiting around letting the more experienced drivers go by. They are not just fighting them. They are attacking them with all that they've got. And by the way, Revo has been jumped by his teammate in the pits. Inet Baroness came out of the pits ahead of Revo. However, Baroness is probably going to have to struggle with his tyres a little bit more. He's got fresher softs, and at this point in time, those softs are quicker. I don't know if Hyperdrive are going to invert the cars it would make sense to invert them, but I don't know if they will. Now, everyone has come into the pits at least once, apart from U-Cable. U-Cable is the last man to come into the pits. As Sebastian Chantan currently making up the back of the field. U-Cable leading the way from Einat Babness and Revo. And mathematically, U-Cable can get to the end of the race without hitting 0. Sebastian Chantan, 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. No words. No real words there. Not Curie, another track limits warning. This man does not know what white lines are. But Revo, he's still on the back of his teammate. This could be a pretty good scrap for second on the road. And the net race leader's Mealres. He's got a front tire puncture for Mealres. He started on the back row of the grid, didn't really advance too much further. And to add to his woes, he's got a puncture. U-Cable comes into the pits then, so Einat Babness assumes the race lead with 4 more laps to go. Revo currently second, and then it's Michael Novikov and Marcus Nelson. Bogdasarov in the pits really suffered, went from 4th to 6th. He got jumped by Leo, in fact. Leo, he might be getting your driver of the day pick. Comment down below who's your driver of the day, because for me it is Leo. He started outside of the top 10 and he's in the top 5 now. This is brilliant stuff from that pinnacle car. Meanwhile, his teammate's been crashing out. Babness still currently leading this race, 1 second ahead of Revo. So I think what they're trying to do down at Hyperdrive is just make sure that both of their drivers come home in one piece. They don't want their drivers to be fighting over the race win, because that could end up in a crash that would end their races. They've seen that happen last time out. And Mealres, there you go, he's coming to the pits. He's not going to retire from the race, because if he retires, it will be a little bit uncool. Camino, 5 seconds for causing a collision. David Camino, where's he? He's 14. And that's with PCR, most likely. Yes, it is. Not curious. 3rd track limits warning. Fighting Sebastian Ocampo. 1 more of those. And he's going to get a slam dunk 5-second time penalty. Sebastian Ocampo, however, who already has a time penalty, trying to get past him. Not quite close enough to do it. Marcus Nelson has got ahead of Michael Novikov. Nelson to P3. Fastest first sector for him. Ocampo has dropped down to 9th position. And the season 14 champion, the champions of the past 2 seasons, by the way, they've not really looked at their strongest. The skies are darkening here in Melbourne, in Australia. There's a chance of rain, but I don't think it's going to start falling. If it's going to start falling, then Revo is going to suffer quite a bit. Let's take a look. Neither driver coming into the pits. Nelson staying out, Novikov staying out, so the top 7 all staying out. Tommy, he's also got to be in the question for driver of the day, because he's coming 7th. Iwold and Ocampo both coming into the pits, and that's for new softs. If it does start raining, then they have, oh god, I have asphalt and notifications on. If it does start raining, then they have basically just signed their race away to the back of the pack. Hopefully not. But it is still Babness from Revo, from Nelson, from Novikov. Bogdasarov currently 5th, Tommy currently 6th, and Leo currently 7th. Akari up to 9th because of the cars ahead of him pitting, but I do wonder, will these guys come in? 55% on Revo's mediums. That should see him to the end of the race at around 30-20%. It would still be fine to get to the end. It would be very worrying to get to the end. But they should still make it. Babness is coming in. Babness into the pit lane. Revo staying out. So Babness on 50% worn tires, and he's relinquished the lead on the penalty lap. Novikov and Leo also into the pits. Revo is staying out, and I don't know if he's going to be allowed to come into the pits at the end of this lap. So Revo is leading this race from Marcus Nelson and Daniel Bogdasarov. Tommy trying to send it down the inside, almost contact there for the next TV, number 45 car. And can he try and get past? He's still with the Virgin of Daniel Bogdasarov. the first of the two original DS Andretti cars to retire, and that is Dav Sanchez out of the E-Prix. Dav Sanchez out. Virtual safety car has been called. Oh dear, that's your first retirement of this E-Prix. We didn't have any retirements last time out in Las Vegas. But for it to be a DS Andretti car, it's just not the best day for best two races for them. In fact, I was gonna say day, but then realized, yeah, last time out they scored 9 points. This time out they're likely to score 9 points. On to lap 13 of 14, we're still on. Coming through the final few turns on this penultimate lap. It's the man, it's the prince who is still yet to become king. Ravo in the number 7. He's going to come across the line then to start the final lap here in Melbourne, Australia. He has not come in. He is not doing the double stop. He's using all of his attack charge coming down the straight. Tommy is looking for a fairy tale podium finish today, but Bogdasarov is the man who could deny him. He's out of attack charge, is Bogdasarov. So is Tommy. Marcus Nelson also out. Revo has dumped the battery. Everyone is out of attack mode. And charge, rather. Bamner's coming down the straight. This is where most drivers decide to dump the battery for whatever reason on the last lap. Tommy trying to drop Bogdasarov as much as he can. And it's likely to come to the main straight on whether or not Tommy will get a podium for next TV Neo. But this man, he's on a roll. Last time out, he won the Las Vegas E3. The time before that, he won in Marina Bay. He's gonna go 3 for 3. And Hyperdrive Racing are back to form. Ravo wins the Melbourne E3 from Marcus Nelson. The top two. Brilliant stuff from App Sportsliner to get themselves back on top. Tommy and Bogdasarov, their fight ends with Tommy getting first place and a fastest lap, which is now stolen by Camden, and now Santino Milan, the man who finished in 7th. Akari 8th, Chiclerc 9th, Tommy and UK-Ball is 10th. Arnett Bamner's coming home with a fastest lap. Neil Rose coming home a lap down. Sebo Campo in 17th. PCO now resetting the fastest lap of 1:02.6. And this is the podium then. For the 3rd race in a row, Ravo in that Hyperdrive number 7 wins an E-Prix, this time out in Melbourne, Australia. His dominance could bore fans. Then it's Marcus Nelson and Tommy. Marcus Nelson looking back to form, and Tommy finding his. Then it's Daniel Bogdasarov, not Curie, and Akari. David comes home with 7th, then it's Loris Chiclerc, your top 8. Then the last two men to score points, Santino Milan and Di Garbo. Then it's August Regazzoni, Arnett Bamnes, UK-Ball, Michael Novikov, Leo Iwald, Vashi Chantan, PCO, Yuki Sura, Sebastian Ocampo, Mil Rose a lap down, and Dav Sanchez, your non-finisher. In the drivers' standings, if I can just show it, Ravo leads the way on 105 points. That's almost double David Camino's tally. Then it's UK-Ball, Daniel Bogdasarov, and August Regazzoni. Then it's Yuki Suo, Milrez, and Marcus Nelson tied with Santino Milan. Sebastian Ocampo drops to 10th, Tommy up to 11th. Then it's Akari, Leo, Loris Chiclerc, Michael Novikov, P. Sierra, Dav Sanchez, Arnett Bamnes, not Kiwi, T. Gabo, Iworld, and Vashi Chantan, who is still yet to score. In the Constructors' Championship, heading into race number 9 in London. Hyperdrive Racing lead the way on 124 points from Born Honda GP on 115. Then it's Toyota Gazoo Racing on 101, App Sportsline on 97, Nissan Nismo on 72, Next EV Neo on 71. Then it's a tie for 7th between MS Amlin Andretti and Aurelio Pinnacle. Virgin Renault on 63 points, Mercedes Formula E team on 30 points, and Mahindra off the marks on 10 points. See you guys next time then, when the Formula E Monopoly Championship 16th season returns.